Hello. Today I just want to talk about one of my favorite winter sports, which is skiing. Skiing has always been a really infamous event of mine, since it only happens once a year for me, if that. A couple of things I really like about it is that one, it's just in the winter, the weather's great, there's snow on the ground. It's just a very unique experience for me being in Texas. Another thing is just the where we stay. Usually it's just in a condo. It's very homey and very cozy, cabin-like feel. Really good food when we go up there is just like chili, hot chocolate, just kind of comfort food after a long day in the cold. And lastly, just the speed and adrenaline that you get from actually being on the mountain and skiing is more or less just addicting to me, just because I like that sense of inertia. But learning to ski is a little more difficult than just getting your skis and being on a mountain and snow and skiing down snow. For me, learning, I was taught by my mom first off, and me and her tried for a good day just going down some greens and down some muddy trails, which ended up working really well. But as I tried to keep up with my sister and brother, they were a lot better at skiing than I was, and so whenever I try to keep up with them, I would just end up falling and not knowing how to brake and how to stop and how to maneuver my body to counter that snow and that friction. So my mom was trying so hard to teach me how to ski in a very small amount of time, and so every time I would fall, I would blame her and myself, and I would just get more and more frustrated as the trip kept going. And eventually, she just kind of said, "Hey, Jace, I can't teach you anymore. I'm just not suited to teach you." And so she sent me to a ski school, and a ski school is not something that I would like to do, because I like learning things on my own and doing things by myself and figuring it out. But my parents forced me to go for a half day, and that half day made the whole trip worth it, because after that I was able to keep up with my parents and keep up with my brother and sister, and actually learning how to maneuver my body to ski and to stop myself. But this past winter, I went on a trip with a couple of friends of mine, and I was one of the more proficient skiers that time around, and we had two girls, which was their first time skiing at all, or actually even seeing snow. And so for them, the physics of skiing wasn't really narrowed down for them. They just thought that they needed to plant their legs and brace, and the friction would stop them. So going with them down some runs was not great at first, trying to teach them the basics of how to pivot and dig your legs in instead of just doing a pizza, which is good, but it's not how you're supposed to stop, because that just wears your legs out. But teaching them was more than difficult, more than challenging, just because I'm not a proficient teacher, and trying to teach someone else something like that is a little more difficult than just saying it. You have to kind of show them and actually kind of work their legs to make the movement that you're trying to explain. And so after about a day and a half of trying to teach them, trying to maneuver them to get to a place where they can ski with the rest of the team, they just weren't having it. They were falling over in the middle of a run. They were going into the tree line. We were having to get them up and pick them up, and that was tiring us out. And so we just told them, "Hey, you need to go to a class," and that benefited them and benefited the whole rest of the group, because they were able to master that skill within half a day of skiing. And so, all in all, I would just say that if you get taught by your family, you're going to argue with them, and if you get taught by your friends, they're going to abandon you. And so that's just why I like skiing.